Thank you, Marita. Tonight we'll hear from candidates running for the 74th governor of Virginia. But first off, I think Congressman Connolly forgot to announce in normal times he would be telling everyone around that there's only 32 days left to the holiest day of the year, his 27th St. Patty's Day feat. So please, if you can, attend that. But as far as the governors, most of you would guess that Thomas Jefferson was our first governor, but that'd be incorrect. Patrick Henry was. And he was the first governor to be elected twice, serving a second term in 1784. Over 10 former governors have been in the U.S. Senate, like Tim Kaine, as we just heard, and 5 become president. As many of you know, in the middle of the 20th century, Harry Byrd and the Byrd political machine ruled. But it was actually Governor Kaine's father-in-law, Linward Holton, who was the first Republican to win the governorship since 1869. All the governors since John Dalton in 1978 have been elected from the 3 major metropolitan areas of Richmond, Hampton Roads, and Northern Virginia, and that trend will continue this year in 2021. Congressman Beyer, who we just heard, was the lieutenant governor on the ticket when our Commonwealth elected our first black governor in 1990. In 2021, will we elect the second black governor? Will we re-elect a governor for a second term, like we did for our first governor, Patrick Henry? Or will we elect the first woman to ever serve as governor of the Commonwealth? With that, our first speaker this evening is State Senator Jennifer McClellan. Senator McClellan has served in the Virginia General Assembly for 15 years, representing Richmond and the surrounding areas, and has been a leader in the Virginia Democratic Party for over 30 years. Senator McClellan is running for governor to use her vast legislative experience and record of progressive results to rebuild a stronger, more inclusive Virginia that leaves no one behind. And with that, Jennifer McClellan, the floor is yours, and you have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, everyone, for having me here tonight. And first, let me say, by channeling my Creole ancestors, laissez le bon temps rouler. As you know, 2021 will require an all-hands-on-deck effort to ensure that we keep Virginia blue. And seeing so many of you here on an icy Saturday evening gives me hope that we are prepared to do just that. I'm Senator Jennifer McClellan, and as the daughter of educators and community leaders who grew up in the segregated South during the Depression, I understand that at its best, government is a force for solving problems and making people's lives better. That's what motivated me to work to elect Democrats since my days as a college student and young Democrat 30 years ago all over the Commonwealth, continue to do so as a party leader and community activist, and to serve in the General Assembly for the last 15 years. Now I'm running for governor because as we face a health pandemic, an economic crisis, a reckoning with racial injustice, and a growing loss of faith in government's ability to solve problems, we need a governor who can rebuild our economy, our healthcare and economic safety nets, and our education system in a way that addresses inequity and brings Virginians together, leaving no community or no one behind. And I'm running because, frankly, I'm tired of fighting the same fights that my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents fought, and I can't leave those fights to my children to resolve. I have the experience and the perspective to do this in a way that not only creates a seat at the table for communities that have been excluded from the policymaking process, but takes that table out into our communities. Whether it's expanding access to quality, affordable healthcare, fully funding and improving our education system from birth to career, addressing the needs of our small businesses and workers, continuing to build a clean energy economy, or protecting the rights of all Virginians, as governor, I will build on the progress we have made since you helped us gain the majority in the General Assembly in 2019. And I will build the foundation for a more equitable post-COVID Virginia. To learn more about my platform, including my plan to provide universal childcare and early learning to all Virginians by 2025, please visit my website at jennifermcclellan.com. I hope you will join delegates Paul Krizik and Kathy Tran in supporting me both tonight and on the Democratic primary. Early voting starts in April and ends June 8th. Thank you all very much for having me, and let's have fun.
Thank you, Senator McClellan. Up next is Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Justin Fairfax has served as the Commonwealth of Virginia's Lieutenant Governor since January 2018, after earning 1.3 million votes. Lieutenant Governor Fairfax is a former federal prosecutor who graduated from DeMatha Catholic High School, Duke University, where he served on the Board of Trustees as student trustee, and Columbia Law School. He is married to Dr. Fairfax, and they live in Annandale, Virginia, with her 2 children, Cameron and Christ. Welcome, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you, Madam Chair, and to all of our wonderful friends, the Mount Vernon Democrats. I am so pleased to be with you tonight. I, of course, wish we could do this in person, as we've done over the course of many years, but it's really wonderful and exciting to be with you in this creative way to celebrate Marti Gras and all the wonderful things the Democrats here in Virginia have accomplished. There's so much to talk about, and in the 2 minutes that we have, I really want to talk about the progress that we have made as Democrats. I remember being at the Marti Gras straw poll some years ago and saying that Virginia would be the match that sparks the wildfire progressive change all across this country. And that was right in the wake of Donald Trump being elected to the presidency. And so the nation was looking for hope. It was looking for a group of people who would take on the hard fights, the hard challenges, who would lift our spirits up and be a light in the middle of a lot of political darkness. And so that's what Virginia and Virginia Democrats chose to do. And here we are 4 years later. Not only have we turned this nation around, having elected Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to lead our country, but Donald Trump not only is out of office, not only has been impeached twice, but what he has done to our nation, we in Virginia are leading the way in reversing all the damage that has occurred over the course of his administration. And I remember within about the first week of my being sworn in as Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, I went to the Senate and the dais, and I was asked to honor Confederate Generals Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson, a tradition that had carried on for nearly 150 years. And I decided right there in that moment that I would not honor those Confederate generals because it was not the right thing to do. It was not who we aspire to be as Virginians, and that we needed to have courage to take on those historic and big challenges. And now years later, we understand that this nation is turning the corner. We are not only getting rid of those Confederate monuments in Virginia and around our country, but we're getting rid of the living monuments to the Confederacy and to racism. So now we are rebuilding for the next 400 years of Virginia and of our nation, ensuring that people have equal opportunity in education, in housing, in healthcare, that we're reforming our broken criminal justice system. We've made so much progress in that regard, and I've been proud to preside over the Senate of Virginia at one of the most historic times for our Commonwealth, where we are getting rid of the death penalty, finally, in Virginia, legalizing marijuana and dealing with the disparities that they have created in the criminal justice system, allowing people to rise, giving them hope, opportunity, justice, and fairness. And that's really what Virginia is all about. It's what our nation is all about. And so as we deal with this COVID-19 pandemic, as we navigate this next era, Virginia will continue to lead the way. And it's because of dedicated Virginia Democrats like you who care so deeply about our nation and about the future for all of our families. So thank you all so much for having us once again. I want to say hello to everyone who's able to join, and God bless you all. Look forward to progress going forward for the next 400 years. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Fairfax. Up next, we have former delegate Jennifer Carroll Foy. As one of the first women to graduate from Virginia Military Institute, VMI, a former foster mom, a magistrate judge, and public defender, Jennifer has embodied the ideals of community, honor, and commitment in every facet of her life. During her time in the legislature, Jennifer led the way on the Equal Rights Amendment, proudly supported the successful fight to expand Medicaid to over 500,000 Virginians, and passed a budget that increases a 3% salary increase for teachers. Jennifer Carroll Foy has dedicated her life to service and is now running for governor. Jennifer Carroll Foy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mount Vernon Dems. I am Jennifer Carroll Foy, and I'm asking for your support and your vote because Virginia is at a pivotal moment. And this is our only chance to build back our economy, our environment, our healthcare in a way that's rooted in equity. We also need to unite this divided Commonwealth. So we need a candidate who can bring people with her. Secondly, you need someone who can govern. And I have passed bills, budgets, and resolutions to change the United States Constitution to include women's equality, along with all the amazing advocates who's been fighting for this for decades. Helped veterans open small businesses, cleaned up toxic coal ash throughout Virginia, and make our criminal justice system more fair. And as one of the first women to ever graduate from Virginia Military Institute, one of the top military colleges in this country, I know how to plan and execute, accomplish the mission, and get things done. So if you're looking for a leader who's right for this moment, someone who will move Virginia forward and not back, a leader, a fighter with bold solutions and a record of getting things done, then join us. And yes, go to jennifercarrollfoy.com and help out. As governor, I will get shots in arms, people in jobs, build a successful post-COVID economy, and have 97% of all Virginians covered by high-speed internet by the end of my administration. We can do all of this and keep the majority and more, but only if we do it together. So please, please join me.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have current delegate Lee Carter. Lee Carter has represented Manassas and part of Prince William County in the House of Delegates since 2018. A Marine veteran and electronics repairman, Lee has introduced bills to repeal anti-union right-to-work laws, ban corporate campaign contributions, end cash bail, legalize marijuana, establish the death penalty, cap insulin copays, reform workers' comp, and legalize teacher strikes. This year, he's running for governor to lead Virginia through a recovery that guarantees everyday Virginians, not giant corporations, own and control the economy of the Commonwealth. Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. So first of all, I want to start off with a shout out to Brian Graham for creating a wonderful tool for all of us candidates to collect petition signatures. So go to vadempetitions.org and you can just check the box for all of the candidates, fill in your information, and get all of us on the ballot. That is something that's only possible because Paul Goldman and I sued the Department of Elections on the premise that our campaigns should not be super spreader events. So we have this COVID-safe way to get candidates on the ballot now, and I would encourage you all to go to vadempetitions.org and sign for all of the candidates. So I am Lee Carter. I'm a member of the House of Delegates. I represent the city of Manassas and parts of western Prince William County and have for the last 4 years. And I don't come from a normal background for a politician. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or a realtor. I'm an electronics repairman and a Marine Corps veteran. And I got involved because I got hurt at work in the summer of 2015, and the workers' comp system was just not there for me when I needed it. And when I called my employer after I was able to walk again after my injury, I said, I'm ready to go back to work. And he said, we have work, but we don't have any for you because the company you were contracted for doesn't want you on their job sites anymore. And so I started talking to delegates and senators and asking them what we were going to do about workers' comp, and nobody had an answer. So I realized if this was going to get fixed, it was going to have to come from someone who's been there. So I took on a fight that the Democratic Party said was impossible and took out the Republican majority whip, Jackson Miller. And we did it by creating a multiracial working class coalition of first-time voters and irregular voters and getting them out to the polls in 2017. And that is exactly what I intend to do in this run for governor here in 2021, is create a broad, multiracial working class coalition of people who have never voted in a gubernatorial election. Because this is the first election of the post-Trump era. This is our first opportunity to say what we stand for as Democrats, rather than who we're against. This is the first opportunity to say that we want a Democratic Party that does not take money from for-profit corporations or industry interest groups. I never have, and I never will, and I'm the only Democrat running for governor who can say that. So, as your next governor, I will fight to make sure that when we recover from COVID, we do it in a way that reimburses people's out-of-pocket expenses. Whether it's $20 for a test or $200,000 for an ICU stay, I don't think you should be out of pocket because you got sick during a pandemic. And we need to rebuild in a way that puts ownership and control directly in the hands of working Virginians, not the massive corporations that have dominated our economy for decades. And as your next governor, I promise you that on the issue of criminal justice reform, we will no longer be a leader in mass incarceration. The United States incarcerates more of its people than any other country in history, and the overwhelming majority of those people are incarcerated by state courts. Virginia is no exception. As your governor, I can promise you that our prison population will be at least 30% lower the day I leave office than the day I'm sworn in, even if I have to sign thousands of clemency petitions myself. So I want to thank you all again for coming here. This is a wonderful event. And I hope that I can count on all of your support in this straw poll and in the only poll that really matters on June 8th to be the next governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Because I will truly be a governor for the rest of us, not for big business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lee. And definitely last but not least, the 72nd governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe. Terry is a lifelong entrepreneur, proud Democrat, who has served as the 72nd governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia from 2014 to 2018. As governor, Terry focused on making the Commonwealth welcoming and inclusive and building a 21st century economy that created good jobs and expanded economic opportunity for all of Virginians. A tireless champion of progressive policies, Terry has dedicated his life to electing Democrats. Terry McAuliffe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Richard. Thank all of you. It's great to be with the Mount Vernon Dems. I appreciate it. I look at the screen. I see so many friends who I've worked with through the years. Just over the last 2 years, I've done 50 events in Fairfax for our candidates and our committees, and I see all of you there. And let me first of all thank you for all the great work that y'all did to help Joe Biden get elected and Kamala Harris. Appreciate all the great. It was really to have a new president. I went to the inauguration. And it was pretty amazing walking in the Capitol to go out to the seats and to see all the boarded up windows, the shattered windows, and then to go out and see Joe Biden took that oath of office. We really turned a corner, and Virginia led the way, winning the state by 400,000 votes. So thank you to all of you for everything that you have done. I announced for governor a couple months ago on a big, bold plan to take Virginia to the next level. I came out, as you all know, my co-chairs, Senator Louise Lucas and House Majority Leader Charnel Herring and Mayor of Richmond, LeVar Stoney. We've put together a great group of supporters from literally all over the Commonwealth. I have all 133 cities and counties represented, have been supportive of the campaign. And just in Fairfax alone, in Fairfax County, we've got Eileen Fildercorn, we've got Dick Saslaw, Jeff McKay, Sharon Bulova have really joined in to help the campaign. And Mount Vernon, of course, we got great Senator Adam Evans. Senator George Barker has been a great supporter. Delegate Mark Sickles has been helpful. And then our school board, I want to thank Karen Carpenter Sanders for the great work that she has done. And literally all of you who have really helped get this thing off. We started it in a great thing. And I came out in education. I had talked to Karen Corbett Sanders about education, about what we need to do to really take Virginia to the next level. I've come out with a huge, big, bold plan on what I want to do on education. As you know, you've heard me, Virginia, take average teacher pay, we ranked 50th out of 50 states. That is a disgrace for the 9th wealthiest state in the United States of America. So I call for $2 billion investment. It's time to think big, be bold, and take Virginia to the next level and pay our teachers above the national average for the first time in Virginia history. I call for a scholarship, Lucy Sims Scholarship, to get a diverse, educated workforce out there. I talk about every child getting broadband, spending $75 million. With COVID, we've now seen what can happen when children don't have access to the computer equipment that they actually need to do. And we have 41,000 children today, 3- and 4-year-old at risk. They don't have pre-K. I call for every single one of those children to get pre-K. It's a big, bold plan, but if we're going to rebuild this economy, if you all remember the last time I went in office, I inherited the biggest deficit, left the biggest surplus 4 years later, the most jobs ever created in Virginia history. We built an all-new economy, and personal income went up 12.6%. We're going to have to do that again. COVID is going to whack our economy. It's going to affect everybody for years to come. But the state that rebuilds the best education system is going to be able to recruit the highest paying jobs and build the best workforce in the country. That was my goal last time. That is my goal again. But if you go to Terry for Virginia, I've got big plans out on criminal justice reform, something I led on. As you know, I did more pardons than any previous governor, and I restored more felon rights than any governor in the history of America. And you know what happened? Republicans sued me again for contempt of court, loved it. But you know what? There's 200,000 people got the right to vote back. I took the Confederate flag, banned it from our license plates. I banned the box on state employees, reduced criminal justice detention facilities by 2/3, leaning in to give everybody a shot. I came out with a whole gun violence prevention plan of new things that we need to do, a ban assault weapons, get rid of these high capacity magazines. There's no place for them. I came out with a plan on affordable housing. Right now, today in Virginia, we have 261,000 Virginians that are under the threat of evictions. If you take the top 10 cities in America for evictions, Virginia has 5 of them. That is a disgrace. We have 6,000 homeless on the streets tonight, 900 of them without a roof over their heads. So I've come out with a big affordable housing of what we need to do to take Virginia forward. I came out with a STEM-H plan, computer science, computational thought process, a whole thing I laid out so that we here in Virginia can lead the country. And I came out with the toughest prescription drug plan to stop the predatory drug pricing that's been going on in this country. It will be the most aggressive that we have in the country. So I will continue to lay out these big, gigantic plans of what we need to do. I always think big. I acted boldly. Last time I had a Republican legislature, it'll be exciting to have a Democratic legislature this time. I had to veto a record of 120 bills, anti-women, anti-gay, pro-gun, all the stuff they had, and we backed them down. I never lost one single veto, and I want to thank all of our Democrats in House and the General Assembly who really helped me do it. So my goal is to build a more equitable Virginia, make Virginia lead the country out of this horrible COVID crisis that we're in, build it so it's equitable, so the Black and brown communities that disproportionately been affected, we can rise everybody up. And as I say, that's why over 100 elected officials have joined on the campaign. We have 100 educators who already support us, but we're going to work hard. I always work hard. The last thing I'm going to say is a lot of people think, oh, the Democrats are going to win this. That's a misperception. We cannot take anything for granted. As you know, for 44 years, whoever won the White House, the other party wins the governor's mansion. I'm the only guy to break it. In 2013, I won. President Obama won in 12. Donald Trump has driven our turnout 17, 18, 19, 20. Donald Trump is not on the ballot. He's not in the White House anymore. We have to drive our turnout. We've got to bring it up. We got to build a broad coalition, just like Joe Biden did to win the presidency. We got to do that here in Virginia. We're going to make the country, Virginia, #1 over all the other 49 states. I thank you. I would love your support. It's going to be exciting. Game on. Let's go. Sleep when you're dead.
Thank you very much, Governor.
Thank you.
And you guys can go and vote now. The voting's open. We want to just recognize quickly some state senators that have joined us. Please give a round of applause to Adam Evan. We have Scott Serval joined us. I think he has a cool background over there. Probably coolest background of the evening. Delegate Paul Krizak, thank you for joining and being a sponsor. Also, Scott Serval, thank you for being a sponsor. We also have Delegate Mark Sickles and Delegate Kathy Tran that I saw, and I'm sure and we have Delegate Mark Levine. So thank you. Round of applause to everyone. And Delegate Vivian Watts, I see it popping up. We have too many screens here. I believe that's everyone. We also have State Senator George Barker that represents our district. I'm not sure if he's on or not, so I'll just give him a recognition, and let's give him a round of applause as well. So thank you to all our state representatives for joining. Thank you to all our sponsors. Maritza told me to thank the sponsors and then took the list down. So one second. Delegate Krizak and Delegate Searle, thank you for being bourbon sponsors. Lee Carter, Virginia, Carlos Dottor, Lexlin, Paul Jameson, Rick and Joy Joyce, Peter and Catherine, Janet Meyer, Sam Rasool for Lieutenant Governor, Delegate Mark Sickles, Kate Spears, Robert Serval, and Delegate Vivian Watts. Thank you so much to everyone. We couldn't have made this event happen without you. And thank you to all the people who have volunteered and on the committee. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer, our entertainment guru, Sarah. The floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah. Oh, good. My volume is on. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Jernigan, and I am proud to introduce my nephew, Joe Gillum, who's from North Carolina. He is going to do a drink demo of our Blue Wave drink, which is the official drink of this evening. Joe, are you out there?
I am out there.
Well, fantastic. So just so everyone knows, Joe is coming off the Florida campaign and then the very successful Georgia campaign and is looking for a job if anyone needs anybody. So Joe, take it away.
Thank you for that plug, so I didn't have to do it myself.
Not a problem.
Hello, everyone. Like Sarah said, my name is Joe. Tonight I'll be showing you how to make our signature drink for the evening, which is the Blue Wave. If you're familiar with the Kentucky Mule, very similar drink. This is basically going to be a blueberry Kentucky Mule, and also perfect for Marti Gras. It's going to come out this lovely purple color, so it's really a nice drink for tonight. Let's go ahead and get your ingredients together. First up, we need some Fever Tree ginger beer, some Bun Maman, forgive my French, blueberry jam here, fresh mint, a little bit of lime juice, and then, of course, the star of the show, I'm going to be using Maker's Mark bourbon whiskey. If you prefer vodka or a dark rum, those would also be great for that. As far as what bar tools you need, some sort of shaker. I have a little jigger here. If you have a shot glass, that works as well. A teaspoon, a muddler. If you don't have a muddler, you can use a wooden or plastic spoon. That works just as well. You just need something with a flat surface. And then obviously your shaker and a pint glass. Let's get started. You're going to take your blueberry jam first. Get 2 nice teaspoons of that. I like mine a little extra blueberry, so I'm going to have some pretty heavy teaspoons. Get your mint. You're going to want to add maybe 5 or 6 leaves of mint. All right, lime juice, just put 2 dashes or so in there. Then you're going to get your muddler and you really want to grind this to a nice paste. This jam has big chunks of blueberry in it. You really want to mash those down to turn it into a paste. All right, once you're done muddling that, you're going to want to take your whiskey. If you have a shot glass, just 1 shot works, about 1.25 ounces. Then get a nice handful of ice. We're going to add a little bit more ice later, so don't worry about filling up the glass. And give it a nice good shake. The key to shaking is you want to shake it so long, especially if you're using a metal shaker, shake it so long that you can't even hold it onto it anymore because it's so cold. Once that's done, pour it back into your pint glass. Top off with a bit more ice. And then top your glass with our ginger beer.
Joe, push it back a little bit so everybody can see the glass.
All right, thank you. You want to be extra fancy, garnish it with a mint. And there you are.
Well, and while Joe has his drink raised, before he takes a sip, I do want to wish a happy birthday to Elizabeth Guzman, who I might be on this call. Today is her birthday.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Happy birthday. And this toast is to you. Thank you, Joe, for doing this, and we really appreciate it. Oh, and someone wants to put a bid on Joe's cocktail. Unfortunately, he's in North Carolina at my mom's house, so I don't think he can get up here in time, but if he gets a job up here, we will have cocktails often. Thank you, Joe, and have a great evening. I now would like to get an auction update from Maria, if possible.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, okay, so it looks like right now we are up to 180 is our highest bid. And I saw somebody mentioning there, can we get up to 200? That's the next challenge. So, and I'll tell you that this beautiful gift basket is valued at $375 in terms of its actual value. So, you know, let's keep that energy going. Let's keep those bids coming. And to enter your bid, just enter your first name, last name, email address, and bid amount into the chat feature. Keep those into increments of 5, please. And we are looking forward to you to keep entering those bids. Thank you so much for participating so far.
Thank you, Maria. And I'm now going to introduce Mark Kennedy, who will be doing our Attorney General candidates announcement. And Mark is in charge of our small business liaison. He does a great job helping Mount Vernon Democrats get really involved with local businesses in the area. So Mark, take it away.
Well, hello, Mount Vernon and everybody. Fantastic. I'm all here with my regalia for Marti Gras. I look forward to this every year and appreciate being able to come on here and introduce our fantastic Attorney General, Mark Herring. Also, I'm happy to be here as the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus for the party. Listen, let me tell you a little bit about Mark Herring. Attorney General Mark Herring is fighting every day for justice, equality, and opportunity for all Virginia. Mark has won huge victories in court for LGBT Virginians. Also, he has, got my board moving here a little bit. Also, Virginians and for dreamers and for immigrants and for new Virginians and for the rights of all Virginians to live, worship, and raise their families free from hate and discrimination. When President Trump abandoned the defense of Obamacare in court, Mark stepped in to protect coverage for all pre-existing conditions and to keep healthcare affordable and accessible for all Virginians. He's sued to block efforts to defund Planned Parenthood and limit women's access to reproductive health care. He's also led a multi-million-dollar, multi-year project and completed it in July of 2020 to completely eliminate Virginia's backlog of untested rape kits. Mark and his wife, Laura, have been married for 30 years and have 2 wonderful children, daughter Peyton, 25, and son Tim, 22. It's a pleasure for me to introduce Attorney General Mark Herring.
Well, thank you, Mark, for the welcome, and hello, Mount Vernon Democrats. Well, folks, I have proven I can win and protect Virginians, and I haven't just done the job, I've been incredibly successful doing the job. I'm thankful to have the support of some great Virginia Democrats like Congressman Don Beyer, Congressman Jerry Connolly, and a whole lot of others. I broke the stranglehold that Republicans had on this job and this office, and I totally transformed it into a progressive powerhouse. I went into court and fought for marriage equality and won. Made sure dreamers could get an equal education in Virginia, led on criminal justice reform, created the first ever civil rights office, won landmark lawsuits to remove symbols of Confederate propaganda, and led the first ever investigation into racial bias in a Virginia school system. And I eliminated Virginia's rape kit backlog, something only 6 states have been able to do. And so much of the work in the last few years has been about protecting the very democracy our country was founded on and fighting back against the Trump agenda. I sued Trump over his un-American Muslim ban and won. Sued to protect DACA and won. Went all the way to the Supreme Court to protect the Affordable Care Act, not once, but twice. Fought in court to protect reproductive rights and a woman's right to choose. And we have to keep this progress in Virginia going. 2 years ago, I was the leading voice calling for marijuana reform. Now we have decriminalization, but we can't let up until we get full legalization. We have to successfully defend new legal challenges to new progressive laws like the Virginia Values Act and gun safety measures like 1 gun a month, the red flag law, and expanded background checks. And we've got a lot of work ahead of us to make it through and recover from the worst health crisis in a century. There are a lot of people who are hurting. I'm asking again for your support as Attorney General, as the people's lawyer, protecting and expanding the rights of all Virginians. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you on the campaign trail.
Yay!
Awesome. Mark, are you introducing Jay Jones as well?
Sure, Matt, I can introduce Jay Jones as well. Let me go to Jay Jones. Okay, Jay Jones. It's a pleasure to be here to introduce Jay Jones. Jay was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates in 2017, representing the 89th district, which includes the city of Norfolk, a fifth-generation Norfolkian and descendant of slaves. Jay's calls to public service was generations in the making. His grandfather was a pioneering civil rights attorney in Norfolk, and both of Jay's parents currently serve as judges in the city of Norfolk. Folks, let me introduce you to candidate for AG, Jay Jones.
Thank you, Mark, for that wonderful introduction. It's good to be here with the Mount Vernon Democrats on this fine Saturday. I commend you guys on such a wonderful Marti Gras event. I've heard wonderful things about this. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. As a good Catholic boy, I am gearing up myself for the Lenten season, so we're going to have a couple more days of fun before Ash Wednesday. But I want to give a special shout out to my friend Paul Krizek, who represents you guys so well in the House of Delegates, my seatmate between Jeff Bourne. He is one of my closest friends in the legislature. Like Mark said in the introduction, my story is pretty unique. I'm very fortunate. I'm the descendant of slaves on both sides of my family, and I often wonder what my ancestors would think about their descendant having the opportunity to be the first Black Attorney General in Virginia's history. My grandfather, Hillary, was a civil rights attorney. He is the light of my life, and the reason why I do a lot of what I do, because I often think about his struggles and how our lives are not all that different from what he was going through in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And we've got a lot of work to do. I got elected back in 2017. We've done some tremendous things over the last few years, but we've got an incredible opportunity here in Virginia in 2021 to really chart a new course. I know every single person on this Zoom tonight is so thrilled that the era of Donald Trump is over, is behind us. We closed that chapter in 2020 in large part because of the work that the folks on this chat did up and down the ballot to get Joe Biden and Democrats back into office so that we could have full control in Washington. But Virginia is unique in that we get to pick up the pen and write this new story as we chart this new course ahead for this new Virginia decade.
You can make as many videos as you want, and you can never pick up a camera or use.
And I tell folks, who better to be the face of the state's justice system than someone who looks like what that system has oppressed for the last 400 years. We don't just want to talk about it, we want to be about it. I've been a leading voice in fighting Dominion and Appalachian Power and the energy utility monopolies that we've got here in Virginia, because we want to do right by Virginians, we want to do right by consumers, and that's what the job is all about. And we also want to make sure we're fighting for our labor brothers and sisters, combating worker misclassification and wage theft. That's got to be a priority for us. We can't be the best state for business without a really, really strong workforce, and we owe it to the folks who are going day in and day out to make sure that we have what we need, that we've got their back as well. And so I'll say, as Virginia moves ahead, we are rapidly growing. We are diversifying. This is not the Virginia of 4 years ago, of 8 years ago, of my parents, of my grandparents. We are diverse. We are different. We are growing, and we have a lot of opportunities to highlight, elevate, and prioritize the folks who have lived experiences, who can bring wonderful things to these offices. And I'm excited and hopeful to be a part of that as your next Attorney General. I know that we'll hit the ground running on day one and really move this state on its shared Virginia journey into this next Virginia decade. I'm so proud to have the support of the federal, state, and local officials from all over the Commonwealth, Elaine Luria, Paul Krizek, and so many others as we move ahead. And that's what it's about. It's about looking forward, not back. It's about making progress, not being complacent. And so I ask for your support. If you like what you hear tonight, please go to jjones.com, sign up, join our movement. It's going to be a lot of fun. And thank you guys again for having me tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Just a quick plug to make sure you get your votes in. I see in the chat some folks have trouble signing in. Please email Jack at fairfaxdems.org or message him or Chris Ambrose in the chat, and they will assist you. With that, we have Derek and Yoko. We'll be introducing our Lieutenant Governor candidates. Derek, the floor is yours.
Hey, I'm Derek Robinson. I'm really happy to be here and to introduce some of our Lieutenant Governor candidates. I'm going to start first with Andrea McKellen. Andrea currently serves more than 125,000 Virginians in her role as a Norfolk City Council member. In addition to representing the 1.7 million citizens of Hampton Roads as the chair of the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission, With more than 2 decades of business, nonprofit, environmental, and local government leadership experience, she's ready to put her knowledge, her network, and her innovative ideas to work to help Virginia's economy and its people recover from the COVID-19 pandemic as the Commonwealth's first female lieutenant governor. And with that said, Andrea, do your thing.
Thanks so much. And thank you, Mount Vernon Democrats, and happy Mardi Gras. I'm loving all the masks and the beads and the drinks. So thank you all for having me. I'm Andrea McClellan, and I'm zooming in from Norfolk, Virginia, where, as mentioned, I serve on the Norfolk City Council. I was raised in Virginia Beach by a single mom. I'm a proud product of Virginia Beach Public Schools. I then went on to attend the University of Virginia before working in corporate America for about 5 years in industrial sales and marketing. I had a glamorous job working on shop floors from Erie, Pennsylvania to Long Island, New York. But a lot of those skills I bring with me today in solving the problems for my customers. It's very similar to solving the issues of my constituents and some of the skills that I would bring to the role of Lieutenant Governor. I then attended the Wharton Management Program and a 2-year part-time program, and I ran 2 small startup companies. I've been back in the Hampton Roads area for about 20 years. I've served on several nonprofit boards helping victims of domestic violence, homeless families, and folks who've recently been incarcerated with the reentry program and finding a good job and a good life. I got involved in the local Democratic Committee as a precinct captain in 2008, and I've worked with lots of local, state, and federal elected officials, and then ran in 2016 against a 16-year incumbent for Norfolk City Council, where I was told I needed to wait my turn. This is how it's done, and you'll never raise enough money. Fortunately, I beat him in 19 of 23 precincts, and I now serve about 125,000 Virginians in this role. I've been focused on several issues ranging from the environment, writing one of the first climate action plan for our region, and dealing with flood mitigation issues, both at the local, regional, and state levels, providing greater access to broadband through the creation of a regional broadband ring, trying to create more competition and lower prices, as well as encouraging the growth of offshore wind and the 5,000 jobs that it will bring to this area, and helping to support small businesses and workforce development. I'm really looking forward to taking on the role of Lieutenant Governor, because I believe that the 30 years of experience in the private sector, nonprofit arena, and the public sector makes me the most qualified candidate to hit the ground running. And I hope to earn your support tonight. I hope you'll go to andreaforvirginia.com. And thanks again for having me. Happy Mardi Gras.
Thank you, Andrea, for those remarks. Everyone, my name is Yoko Makembe, and I'd love to introduce the next candidate for Lieutenant Governor. The next candidate is Sam Russell. Since he was first elected in 2014, Delegate Sam Russell has fought for the people of Virginia by rejecting special interest political action committee donations. Starting the Impact Center initiative, which helps empower new age leaders, and modeling a new approach to politics through his Democratic Promise initiative, which builds goodwill by investing in our neighbors. From speaking out against fracked gas pipelines we don't need, to voting against ratepayer ripoffs, to passing legislation to expand access to healthcare. Sam has been showing up for communities across Virginia, fighting for justice. He lives in Roanoke with his spouse, Leah Lee, and their 3 children. Sam, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and good. Thank you for bringing some fun to these different and difficult times. And of course, in advance, happy Valentine's Day and happy Mardi Gras. I'm Delegate Sam Russell in my 8th year in the General Assembly, and I've loved serving you every step of the way. Growing up in a working class family as a child of immigrants, my parents believed over 50 years ago, as they do today, in the American promise. Today was not the brightest day for that promise. but we press on. As an ethnic and religious minority serving in the western part of Virginia, we see that policy and politics advance most with broad coalitions. Beautiful people like you committed to progress, which means so much to many of us. Progress like integrating socio-emotional development into our K-12 education, as we've done over the past few years, pushing back against dominion in fossil fuel pipelines, introducing a Marshall Plan for moms as we recover together. My wife and I have 3 family values with which we've built this whole campaign on. First, lifting up truth by a crowdsourced model to bring your ideas into our campaign. Second, loving on our neighbors by asking them about the issues that they have and trying to connect them with the government resources they need during this difficult time in COVID. And third, we celebrate the grit of all Virginians as we visit every city and county, all of this while being 100% funded by individual donors. State senators to school board members have endorsed our campaign around the Commonwealth. And if I'm so honored to be your next lieutenant governor, I will push for progress with every fiber of my being. A few days after the 2016 presidential election, a couple hundred of us gathered in wonder of what to do next. As I stood at a podium after that 2016 presidential election, with thoughts racing through my head on what to say, I looked down at the podium and I found a little fortune from a fortune cookie. And it read, "Tough times never last, but tough people do. We've made it this far and we can't go back." Thank you all so much. And thank you to the Mount Vernon Democrats tonight. And I'd be honored to have your vote and support in my run for Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Sam. Now introducing Sean Perryman. Sean Perryman is a former member of the Fairfax Dems Steering Committee. He was the youngest president in the 102-year history of the Fairfax NAACP. He's now an attorney working in tech policy. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Sean Perryman.
Hello, Mount Vernon Dems. It's so good to see you. These are difficult times, but it's good that we have some fun like this. I know some people are having trouble with voting, but it's more important that we're here together. I want to thank Matt Bell and everyone who helped organize this event. This is terrific. My name is Sean Perryman. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I know many of you because I served on the Fairfax Dems Steering Committee. I shared my story of having to work for a firm that wanted to represent Donald Trump, quitting, walking away, and really finding myself in that process, walking away and ending up in a job with Congressman Elijah Cummings, where I got to advise all the Democratic members of the House Oversight Committee and investigate Donald Trump. And of course, on a day like today, where we see again, someone skirt justice, skirt accountability, that can be disappointing and even depressing to us. But I think we have a lot to celebrate. We have to keep in mind that we took the House, the Senate, the White House, we took it all, and we did it by forming coalitions in places like Georgia. Literally, as the president was ripping mailboxes out of the ground and they were forcing people to stand on 12-hour lines, Democrats organized and got it done. And the way we did that was by coming together, showing that we were greater than any authoritarian, any sort of wannabe dictator. We are greater than this pandemic that has put us all in our houses. We were still able to organize and inspire people to get out and vote. So I really appreciate the work that you do because it starts there. It starts with the work of knocking doors, talking to our people and uplifting them. What I hope to do as Lieutenant Governor, as one of 3 voices, is to be an advocate for people like I have been in Fairfax County, working on things like changing the Robert E. Lee School to John Lewis. We did that together. Changing our first responder system, working with people in the communities to uplift all of us. So I want your support. I thank you for this. And we have such a long journey ahead, but I know that if we band together, we can do this. And if we have people who are progressives, not only in the delegation and the state Senate, but who are all pushing for a better Virginia for the most vulnerable among us, then we can make a more equitable Virginia for everyone. So I hope I earn your vote, and looking forward to enjoying Marti Gras and many others. But thank you so much for having me. I'm Sean Perryman. Take care.
Thank you so much, Sean, for those remarks. The next candidate for Lieutenant Governor I'd like to introduce is Elizabeth Guzman. Happy birthday to you again, Elizabeth. Delegate Elizabeth Guzman represents the 31st District in the House of Delegates. She is the Vice Chair of the Education Committee and the Chair of the Social Services Subcommittee, and in 2020 was named Legislator of the Year by the Virginia Education Association and the Fairfax County Federation of Teachers, and a legislative leader by the Virginia League of Conservative Voters. Please, you have the floor, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Good evening, Mount Vernon Dems. Thank you so much for having me. It's always nice to be back in Mount Vernon. I am Elizabeth Guzman, and I proudly represent the 31st District in the House of Delegates, which includes parts of Prince William and Fauquier counties. I'm a social worker, a public administrator, a union sister, a mother to 4 children, but most importantly, I'm a fighter for working people, marginalized communities, and progressive values. And I'm honored to be here tonight to discuss my historic bid to become the first woman Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. I came to this country as a young single mother with $300 in my pocket, and now I have a 17-year career in local government in Virginia, serving some of our most vulnerable population, including abused children and seniors living in poverty. I work in the administration of Fairfax County Public Schools and in the Office for Children for Fairfax County Government, and I've been fighting to raise teacher pay and high quality education so we could have the best schools for all children, no matter what their zip code is. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because we need an effective legislator who can ensure that the progressive legislation passed by the House makes it out of the Senate. I passed 19 bills and champion many more in the areas of healthcare, education, the environment, workers' rights, and criminal justice reform. And I approach every issue through the lens of racial justice. I had leadership roles on both the Bernie Sanders campaign and Biden campaigns because I am a coalition builder, someone who brings people together to get things done. And I will continue to speak truth to power to hold this administration and health departments accountable to ensure that our vaccine distribution is fair and efficient. Our historic campaign has earned the endorsements of labor unions, CASA in Action, and Mount Vernon's own delegate, Paul Krisick. And I'm here with you tonight on my birthday because public service is about dedication and sacrifices. And I promise I will be the person who works the hardest to not only defeat the Republican in November, but also I will fight the hardest for all Virginians. And I hope I can end your support tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Now moving on to Jay Jones. Jay was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates in 2017, representing the 89th district, which includes the city of Norfolk. A 5th generation I have a tough time saying Norfolkian, and the descendant of slaves. I'm sorry, we already read that. Sorry about that. Mark Herring. I apologize, folks. I have the wrong list. I'm going to move on to Mark Levine. Mark Levine has held many jobs: trial lawyer, Nazi hunter, Jewish historian, school teacher, counsel to Bernie Frank, talk radio host, TV pundit, and delegate. Through it all, he's always fought for justice, whether it be fighting for his niece and nephew after his sister was murdered, fighting for marriage equality when it was unthinkable, or fighting for transparency in the Virginia legislature. If elected, Mark would be the first LGBTQ plus person and first Jewish person ever elected by the Virginia statewide, and the most accessible lieutenant governor in Virginia history. You have the floor, Mark.
Thank you. Good evening, Mount Vernon Democrats. Happy Mardi Gras. They told me I only had 2 minutes tonight, and 2 minutes is too short a time to tell you about my 6 years in the Virginia House of Delegates, more than 100 pieces of progressive legislation, my successes and my not yet successes, because I don't quit. I'm convinced that I will eventually get them all through. I don't have time to tell you all about my campaign to make Virginia more transparent. That was successful, even though they told me it was impossible, or my 30 years of progressive activism. So since I don't have time for that, I want to talk about what happened today, because that's what's on my mind. And I saw today the best and the worst of democracy, and I'm sure all of you saw it as well. I saw a compelling presentation by the impeachment managers. I saw 50 Democratic senators stand up for democracy, 7 brave Republicans as well. And I saw 43 Republicans, 6 out of 7, justify an attempt to violently overthrow the United States government, an attempted coup by a president who was not accepting a free and fair election. The same kind of conduct they never would have accepted in Russia, they were willing to accept in the United States. I think we need to call it out, and I've been working hard to make sure that such a thing as happened January 6th never happens in Virginia. In fact, this year after January 6th, I scrapped a bill because we only get 7, and I put a new one in its place. It's called the Safe Capital Bill, and it has passed the House. I think it'll pass the Senate too. It says that there will be no more firearms allowed in the Virginia Capitol, in Capitol Square, in government buildings, or in government offices. Because at the end of the day, we sometimes have to make a choice between what the voters want and what violence wants. And I will always stand up for the voters. I've done a lot of bills on election reform. But I always tell people, you want to intimidate us? Then tell us your view on issues. Threaten to unelect us. There's nothing more American than protests. I've done a lot of them. But don't threaten us with violence. When a guy came outside my window with a large firearm, large enough to blow in one window and out the back, he didn't intimidate me. And the people who come to our Capitol Square with guns, they can use their voices, but not their firearms. A lot more to say. Go to levineforvirginia.com. And thank you again, Mount Vernon. It's my 8th year here. It's just that I'm not here in person, and I miss you all.
Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate those remarks. And the next candidate for Lieutenant Governor is Hala Ayala. A lifelong Virginian, Delegate Hala Ayala was elected to the House of Delegates in 2017 and currently represents the 51st District, which covers parts of Prince William County. She has worked as a cybersecurity specialist for over 20 years with the Department of Homeland Security to protect our nation's information systems. As a delegate, Hala has worked to pass some of Virginia's most important pieces of legislation, like expanding Medicaid for 400,000 Virginians, raising teacher pay, passing the Equal Rights Amendment, and expanding background checks to keep guns out of dangerous hands. Hala, you have the floor.
Thank you, Yoko, and thank you, Mount Vernon Dems. As you all know, I am a native of Alexandria, Virginia. My dad actually helped rebuild Groveton Elementary, not the first time, but the second time it burned down. Good evening, Mount Vernon Dems, and thank you so much for having me. For those who are not familiar, as Yoko said, I am the 51st District Delegate in Prince William County. I was elected as the first Afro-Latina to serve, a national security specialist. And matter of fact, I'm the only cybersecurity specialist that serves in the House. Like many of you, I got my start in politics as an activist. In 2008, I saw this mesmerizing senator from Chicago, Senator Barack Obama, come to Prince William, and in his words, probably like many of you, changed your life as it did mine. As a single mother of a multiracial daughter of an immigrant, I never thought I would be in politics. Matter of fact, I never thought I was going to be here, live this long. Growing up, we struggled. I lost my father to gun violence at 2. He was murdered. And my first child was born. I was working at a gas station, making minimum wage. And just with the few college credits and government certification, I did build a career in cybersecurity. I'm a lifelong Virginia resident and been here for a long time. I watched as politics changed in the landscape here in Virginia, but I never saw individuals that look like myself being represented in the General Assembly. But listening to President Barack Obama one day after his last term, and he said, grab your clipboard, grab your sneakers, make change. And the way you do that is run for office. So after decades of political activism and thousands of doors that I've probably knocked for some of you, I was able to be elected to the House of Delegates. I did organize the Virginia delegation to be part of the first Women's March. And hearing those voices resonate, because we didn't like what we elected to office in 2016. We didn't like what he stood for or his values. We wanted to make change. And so again, we ran for office, got elected, and I won against a 4-term Republican incumbent and joined the most diverse General Assembly in its history. I'm a bridge builder in the House of Delegates, but most of all, I know how to get things done. As mentioned in my bio, I've expanded Medicaid, led to the Equal Rights Amendment passage, making Virginia the 38th state to enshrine women's equity in the US Constitution. And today I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because so many of you, like myself, feel that we're excluded from the political process. We've never in our 400-year history had a woman of color hold statewide elected office. I want to be the first Black and brown woman to do so. With that, we need your help. We need you to help us knock doors, make calls, and of course, donate so we can get our word out. Again, people who know me and know my value system and the things that I've done know that I understand that with so many families struggling right now in the wake of this pandemic, I know how fragile life can be. So with that, I'd like to thank you for having me tonight. Thank you for allowing me into your home. And again, go to hollaforvirginia.com if you'd like to get involved, sign our petitions, or donate to our campaign. Be well, be blessed, and thank you again.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Xavier Warren. Xavier Warren is an Arlington County Democrat and a successful entrepreneur who was raised in Danville, Virginia. After achieving his childhood dream of becoming an NFL sports agent, Xavier started a federal funding agency to support people in need by working with members of Congress to help nonprofit hospitals, schools, cities, and counties secure millions of dollars for healthcare, for education, for broadband internet, housing, economic development, and much more. Xavier Warren has the proven experience to lead an equitable economic recovery for all Virginians. And without further ado, Xavier.
Hello, Mount Vernon. Glad to be here. Happy Black History Month. Happy Marti Gras. When this event got on my calendar, I made sure I pull out my tuxedo for you all. So glad to see all the beautiful faces and also the mask as well. I'm Xavier Warren, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because we're in a COVID-19 crisis. We're in a racial crisis, a climate crisis, and an economic crisis. Hundreds of small businesses have closed, and many more are still dying weekly. Thousands of folks have lost their jobs and are now unemployed. 1 in 3 people have taken a salary pay cut. 1 in 4 people do not have enough food on the table to eat. Tragically, these many folks are children. Women have dropped out of the workforce at an 8-time higher rate than men, and many of us are being evicted from our homes and our apartments. See, the Lieutenant Governor position is a business position that focuses on generating economic development, advancing entrepreneurship, and also creating jobs. What makes me different than all the other candidates that's running is I am actually an entrepreneur that has a hands-on business experience to lead a more equitable Virginia economy. See, I've witnessed firsthand what an economic downturn can do. I'm from Danville, Virginia, Pennsylvania County, and when textiles shipped their jobs overseas and tobacco started to decline, what followed was 30,000 people lost their jobs. And majority of those folks fell below the poverty line, and the education attainment rate dropped lower than the state and also national level. See, I watched so many people leave due to lack of financial opportunity, and I was encouraged to do as well. So I went to a historically Black college and university, Hampton University. And for someone coming from a working class family, my dad was a maintenance mechanic and my mom was a buyer analyst. I had to work in retail, clothing, shoe store, just to even pay for books. And when graduation came, my commencement speaker was President Barack Obama. He challenged my classmates and me to lead the change we want to see in America and become the next generation of leaders. I furthered my education at Georgetown University to gain my master's. And even there, I also had to work as a restaurant server. And I never forget the day that Congressman John Lewis walked into the restaurant and sat at my table. As someone that was working off tips, when it came for him to pay his bill, I refused for him to accept his money. I told him, I said, Congressman, it's time for my generation to start paying our dues for what you have done for people like me, especially a Black man of color, but also the positive impact you have had on American history in general. It's time for us to step up. So after graduating, I achieved my childhood dream, became an entrepreneur, grew a very successful sport agency, and started representing a bunch of NFL players. But I never forgot what my mother taught me. And she said, never forget where you come from. So I started another successful business, helping to get federal funding to help support folks in need, to be able to feed people, house people, educate people, and create jobs for people. See, I believe we need to increase economic opportunities, not only for the thousands of folks who lost their jobs and employment due to COVID, but also for our small towns and rural areas losing their main streets. By increasing our economic base, we could fund important initiatives such as vaccine distribution, affordable housing, broadband internet access, and also help combat climate change. I'm your candidate that can actually accomplish exactly that because I've proven the track record to get millions of funding to do those exact things. Please visit xavierforvirginia.com to learn more. Please look in the chat to see my website. I'm going to put my email and also petition to sign. I look forward to your vote today, and I love visiting the Mount Vernon area. As a cyclist myself, I love hitting the bike trails. So I'm sure if you, when the weather gets nice, I'm going to be back out there. But I love being out there at Mount Vernon, and thank you for your time, and God bless.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And let's give a round of applause to all our LG candidates and to Derek and Yoko. Thank you for all that you did. Voting will be open for another about 22 minutes till 9. But let's go to, we're going to go to Sarah in a minute. But let's go to Maria for an update on the auction of the basket.
Thank you, Matt. So it looks like we are currently up to $200 on the gift basket, which is amazing. Thank you so far to everybody who has placed their bids. This gift basket is worth up to $375. It contains 2 Pat O'Brien Hurricane glasses, Hurricane Mix, Captain Morgan's Reserve Rum, Beignet Mix, King Cake Mix, pralines, 3 masks, beads, a green bow tie, boa, and then 2 vouchers to join us next year at 2022 Mardi Gras event. So everybody, please place your bids. If you're interested, we're so loving the energy. So please place those bids in the chat box in increments of $5. Must be 21 years of age to win. And we appreciate your participation so far. And that's the update for now. Thank you so much. I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Maria. Awesome job. So we are going to take a quick 2-minute or maybe a minute dance party. So what we're going to do is we're going to play some music. I want to see everybody out of their seats. Here we go. Tell me if you can't hear it. Can you hear it? Okay, let's get up and dance. Whole thing going. Let's see who. Way to go, Paul. Come on.
Sound, no sound.
Is that better? It came back. Get up and dance, Bob and Tonya. Come on. Go, Dawn. Come on, Mark. I see you out there, Levine. Go, Beverly. Go, Maria. Go, Tony. Come on. Come on, Kimberly. Adams. Way to go. Let's see who else is it. Sherry, Dana, are you dancing? Go, Kate Spears. Come on, Sam. Razul, get up there and dance.
Dawn is taking it to the house.
Exactly. We're having fun. I had to figure out how to turn off my iTunes. Sorry, guys. So that's just to give everybody a chance to kind of rest up, because now we are going to head into we are going to head into some rapid fire questions for our delegates and senators. So no particular order. Mark Sickles, you are up. Are you out there this evening?
Oh, Mark Sickles. Okay, so that's sort of fun.
Mark?
I am here. Here I am.
Hi, Mark. How are you? So
I was, go ahead.
Were you dancing?
I was washing some dishes.
Sorry.
Just cleaning up after my little Mardi Gras here.
Well, good. I hope you had some good drinks. So we have 3 questions for you. It's going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. What was your biggest accomplishment in 2020? What is the one thing you are happy to have accomplished so far in 2021? And what's one piece that that didn't get done that you're going to focus on next year?
Wow. I mean, last year I had 22 or 23 bills passed. I think the most important one, I spend most of my time in the healthcare area, and was the starting of the Virginia Healthcare Exchange, which is going to replace healthcare.gov in a couple of years. We're transitioning to our own exchange so that we can open up access for more people to get health insurance. I think that my work on the Virginia Values Act last year and then this year, it's working its way through the Senate now, but it got out of committee unanimously a couple days ago to add disabled people to the Virginia Values Act, which prohibits discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. That was the big bill. Senator Eben had the Senate version of it last year. We didn't include disabled people last year for a couple of technical reasons, but we're including them this time, and it's flying through. What am I still working on? I'm working on a bill right now to establish reinsurance so that we can lower healthcare costs for people who have to buy insurance for themselves in the gig economy, where they work for small employers where they don't have to provide healthcare insurance because the rates there are just too high, and we've got a way to lower those. That's what I'm working on in the current General Assembly. There's a lot of other things. The fun thing to do was carry the sports betting bill that you just went into effect. There are 5 licensees so far in Virginia, and we're going to raise some money and keep the try to take some market share from the illegal sports betting market, which is a $4 billion industry in Virginia. I know you've seen a lot of commercials about it lately. That was my bill last year, and I hope you have some fun with that.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm sorry. I forgot I was muted, giving you time to chat. So that sounds great. Anything else?
Well, I just looking forward to another successful campaign year. It's, I think I always worry, if our voters will be as motivated as they were when Trump was president. We've got to keep this going. We've done so much the last 13 months in the majority. It's just incredible. You heard some of the candidates speaking they were running for higher office, some of my colleagues just recently. All those things that were accomplished because we were able to get a majority. It is a whole lot more fun to be in a majority and get things done. And from helping our labor brothers and sisters improve their lot in life to helping attract more business to Virginia because we're an open and discriminatory-free state now. So it's just been a great experience, and looking forward to doing even more when we have a new governor and keeping this train going. I think Virginians like what we're doing. We're getting good feedback for it. And we need to keep our message out and keep our voters motivated to come out again to vote. One of the things we did last year that I was very involved in was opening up, creating the drop box, the early voting legislation, the helping create a safe space for people to vote, and then seeing a record turnout this last fall. I hope that making it easier to vote for people will also encourage them to vote and not forget how important it is to vote for lower level folks like us and not just to come out to vote for president.
Can I ask you, when are you planning to kick off your campaign?
I am so busy right now. I haven't really thought about it. We're working on the budget now. The next 2 weeks, I'm going to be a budget conferee on working with the Senate to get our final budget out. But it'll probably be in May.
And you'll definitely let Mount Vernon Democrats know, correct?
Absolutely. I have 5 good precincts in Mount Vernon, including the one I live in, plus 4 in Lorton. And so I don't think we're going to be able to run in new districts like we should be at the census, because the census had gotten so messed up under the previous administration that the latest news is we won't have the numbers until September. And of course, that's way, way too late to run in new districts this year. So, we got 3 years ahead of us, probably 3 years of elections in a row.
Great.
Fun.
Yeah, well, thank you I didn't mean to interrupt your dishwashing event.
No problem. No, I was listening to everybody, but just had it on in the background. Thanks for alerting me.
Yeah, Zoom is easy that way. And I just randomly pulled names out of a hat and you got drawn first. Thank you, Sickles.
Thanks, Wood. Say hi to all my friends at Huntington and my 4 Lorton precincts who turned out so well for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So proud of everybody.
Yes,
Thanks.
they did. It was a busy day down in Lorton.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you. So we're going to now go to Adam Evan. Is he still out there?
He is here.
Fantastic.
And I think Delegate Sickles did just kick off his campaign. I don't think you have to wait till May. The secret is out.
I think so. So you're going to get the same 3 rapid fire questions. What was your biggest accomplishment in 2020? What was the one thing you're happy to have accomplished so far in 2021? And what's the one piece of legislation that hasn't gotten done in 2021 and you're hoping to get done next year?
Sure. In last year, 2020, we passed, as Delegate Sickles mentioned, the Virginia Values Act for non-discrimination in housing, employment, and in public accommodation, not just for sexual orientation, gender identity, although those were the marquee groundbreaking parts of it, but for a variety of characteristics from national origin and race and religion, ethnicity, etc. So that was last year. This year, we have passed the legalization of marijuana in the Senate, although we have on it what's called a reenactment clause, meaning that if the Senate, we still have to work some things out with the Senate and the House, but it may be that we have to pass that legislation again next year. One thing that we certainly have to pass next year is the repeal of the Virginia Marriage Amendment and replacement with an affirmative right to marriage for all Virginians, regardless of their gender or sex. So that's for next year to come back as well, although it has passed both the House with Delegate Sickles' version and the Senate with my version. So because it's a constitutional amendment, it has to pass 2 years in a row before it's sent to the voters. But I know next year I'll be at Marti Gras and coming up with more legislation for you to report on. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. When are you kicking off your campaign?
Well, I've got 2 more years since I'm in the Senate.
That's right. You're a senator. I don't know
stay tuned.
Only my delegate and senator I know, but you do an awesome job because I know some of the things you're working on, and I've definitely been following a few of them. So thank you.
Sarah.
Have a good one. Next up is Kathy Tran. Are you out there, Miss Tran?
We are. Hello.
Hello. There's some little ones too.
Here with Warren. You see the hat, and there's Davin. Oh, it's the cows are coming home. They're all
and now that you're on TV, they all want to see you. So rapid fire. Here we go.
Yeah, we were doing baths. So Mark was washing dishes. We were doing baths. But I was really proud last year of 2 bills that are immigration related. One is to establish the Office of New Americans. We are one of a handful of states across the country that has an office at the state level that's really looking at ensuring access for immigrants and refugees to state services and knitting together the policy work that is required to do that. And then I also passed the driver privilege card bill. So we've already had over 1,000 or 2 at this point, working with Senator Scott Serval and Delegate Elizabeth Guzman and Delegate Paul Krasik, to make sure that anybody who can, show that they know how to drive and pass certain requirements are able to get a driving credential regardless of their immigration status. So really excited about those two bills that passed last year. This year, I am hopeful that we'll get a DMV data privacy bill passed. So all of us, share lots of information with the DMV, and the DMV has 4,000 data sharing agreements. So our information is going left, right, up and down to folks you may not even think about. And it also gets into the issue of sometimes some of these companies monetize our privacy data and sell it to others. And then the other piece to that is making sure that ICE doesn't access our DMV data to surveil people they think might be undocumented and put those individuals on a path to deportation. So that's in the works this year. But a bill that I have that I'm really excited about is it's an anti-discrimination bill for people who are serving in the armed services, their spouses and their family members. So we know a lot of military spouses face employment discrimination and have a really hard time, progressing in their careers. And then also some of our military service members in Virginia are asked to waive a lot or all of their federal housing protections when they get a lease here. So I have to be honest, the landlord associations were really upset, but we powered through. So right won over might, and we're gonna pass a bill that includes all of those protections for our military individuals and families. So really excited about that.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Delegate Tran. And I want to thank you and point out what an awesome delegate she is. She manages 4 kids that you were just managing when I cut in your evening.
At 5 now, but who's counting?
Oh my goodness. So she manages motherhood of 5 and this. She's an absolute rock star. Thank you, Kathy. Have a great evening. Okay. I'll let you get back to bath time. Have a good one. Next up is Mr. Scott Servell. I always say your name wrong, Scott. You are a senator, I believe, correct? Mr. Servell? Scott Servell? Are you out there?
Yeah, last I checked.
Thank you. I literally only remember my own 2 delegates, which will be coming up in a minute, and I'm really bad about that. I also tried to call Representative Byer senator once, so I'm clearly
no problem. No, Sarah, no problem. You get stars in heaven for the work you do for the committee, and I just want to say thank you to everybody in the Mount Vernon Committee for everything you do. I was the chairman of the Mount Vernon Committee for 4 years and chairman of the Fairfax Committee for about 1.5 years, and you all make our lives easier for everything that you all do and all the volunteer work you all do. And I can't thank you all enough for being out there for us and keeping the party in Mount Vernon strong. Sarah, so you asked, what did I do last year? What did I do this year? What am I doing next year, I think?
What did happen this year that you want to make sure gets done next year?
Got it. So last year, Kathy already stole my thunder on the driver privilege card bill, which gave 300,000 undocumented immigrants the ability to get a driver privilege card. So far, we've probably got about 3,000 people who've signed up for that this year, including many in Mount Vernon. Kathy was my co-sponsor on that. She carried it in the House. Delegate Guzman was a chief co-sponsor on it. It was a big team effort and a 5-6 year effort to get that through. And I was really excited about that. Also, predatory lending was a big passion of mine. In 2015, I swore I was going to get all those car title lenders off of Route 1, and now they're gone. And it's because all of us together worked as a House and Senate Democratic caucuses to get rid of this state-sanctioned 200+ interest interest loans that CarMax or LoanMax. There was five big ones, but in any event, they're all gone off of Route 1 now, and I was really happy to get that done. In terms of this session, we're already on the way to getting rid of the death penalty in Virginia. Again, that's been a long-term effort, and there's been a lot of focus on that, and I'm excited about the fact that we got it done, although it doesn't affect a lot of people, but I think it says a lot about our society and what kind of state that we all live in, and I think a lot of people feel connected to it. What I'm really excited about is probably this week, we're probably going to be announcing a final agreement on getting a broad expungement and record sealing process in place, where people who have convictions, past convictions, can get a certain number of their convictions sealed and put their criminal history behind them so they can go out and get a job and be able to support themselves and their families and get a second chance. And that bill will help over 1 million Virginians at the end of the day if we're able to finally get it passed. And that one will truly have a massive impact on people's lives. I really hope we can get that done. And then in terms of the future, I know that Senator Eben, Delegate Krizak, and I are all working really hard to make sure we can preserve River Farm. Delegate Krizak and Senator Eben secured about $2 or $3 million in the state budget. I have a separate piece of legislation I'm working on that will give the County Board of Supervisors some more authority to preserve that property. But if we can get River Farm locked down and make it a local park, maybe our next Mardi Gras will be there. But it's a really incredible property that needs to be in public use forever. And it doesn't need to be some private residence or some billionaire's house, or it doesn't need to be divided into 6 or 7 mansions. It needs to be there for all of us to use. And what's most important is that if we don't get this done, I might end up divorced because I got married there 21 years ago. So we got to get that one done. And I'm really focused on that. I'm glad Adam and Paul are working on it. We're all working on it together with Supervisor Stork and everybody. So that's some of the stuff I'm working on. And I enjoyed this party. We started back in 2008 when Hillary and Obama were running against each other. And I'm glad to see it's still going strong. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Senator. And I do want to thank you for the loans, the payday loan people. I know that was something that was very important, and I definitely tracked that. So I really appreciate that. And you're up for re-election in 24?
No, I'm up in 2023 with Adam Eben.
Okay, that's right.
And we'll see. We're all waiting for our new districts to see who we have left. But 2023, and I'll be kicking off in 2 years.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for being one of our Believe Bourbon sponsors this evening. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Senator. Have a great evening. I do want to mention 2 things. We're in the last couple of minutes. The bid is up to $225. Maria, I'm going to do this super quick. Get your bids in if you want them. That's number 1. And number 2, please, if you are dressed up and looking cute, take a snap a picture of yourself and send it to Maritza. Her email, she's going to pop it in the chat right now. That's for next year. We can show a slideshow of how everybody looked in 2021. And we are now going to go to Paul Krizak.
Thank you, Sarah.
No problem.
Everybody. It would be amazing if Trudy and Rufus Wright were still alive from Toxmont. And I know that Senator Surville remembers them when he was a little kid. When they had the first ice cream socials, it goes way back. I mean, it's been close to 50 years, I would say. And we must be coming close to our 50th anniversary. And I think I've been on virtually every single one. This is the first one I've definitely virtually been to. And they would be amazed to see how the future has unfolded. But this is great. You guys have done a great job. As also a former Mount Vernon Democratic Committee chair, I'm very proud of you all and honored to be your delegate representing almost the majority of Mount Vernon that's not been mentioned by my colleagues. I want to tell you, it's been only 1 year really since we've been in power down in Richmond. So think about that. It's when you talk about successes, you're talking about 3 sessions. Last year, the special session in the summer, and now our short session. And so it's we've done a lot, and we have rolled back or pushed forward, I should say, much of what the Republicans have all the roadblocks they put up for the last 30, 40 years. I remember sometimes going into to committee with my bills, and they just would laugh at me and I remember one time going up there up to the Rules Committee in the old General Assembly building and trying to get voting, no excuse voting for anybody over 65. And one time I went in there and I knew that wasn't going to work. So I thought, well, I'll just try something crazy. Why not 85? And as soon as I said it, we amended the bill. They said, okay, it's 85. And then and then I made my pitch. I said, 85-year-olds shouldn't have to have an excuse to vote absentee. If it's, if it's raining or icy or snowy, let them vote the Saturday before the election. They shouldn't have to go in there and have some kind of an excuse. And nobody should frankly have to have an excuse, but certainly 85-year-olds. And this one good old boy who was the chairman of the committee, I think, or one of the top guys, he said, well, my daddy, he's 86 and he plays golf every day. And that was it. Boom, the vote. They killed that vote. And I was like, I can't wait till we're in charge. And now it's not just 85, anybody. You don't have to have any excuse. And it's because of all of us, the whole entire caucus, the House caucus, the Senate caucus, the Democrats on both sides. Great leadership. We have a terrific Speaker of the House, Eileen Fillercorn. She's been awesome. But our little southeast corner with Delegate Tran and Senator Evan and Senator Survell and Delegate Sickles and Senator Barker and Delegate Levine. We are a great team. We really work hard together. We've been doing a lot. So I'm pretty damn proud of all of us as a team. What have I done? I've been trying to be the glue that kind of keeps a lot of it together. I'm the Labor Caucus leader. And the biggest thing I think we did as a caucus last year was getting collective bargaining. And we did a lot of other things. My favorite bill that I worked hard on, and I was a comp-free, was raising the minimum wage, and that will be going into effect soon. So, we did a lot last year, but one of the bills that we did not pass last year, we tried again during the special session, and we're trying now, was sick leave. And I was at comp-free last year, and I really pushed that with working under Delegate Guzman. That's been her initiative for many years, and she's been working really hard. And I know, being on appropriations, I'm proud to say we do have $8.2 million in the budget for paid sick leave for essential workers. So this year, and being on the appropriations has made all the difference. As Senator Survell mentioned, we were able to get some money in there for River Farm, and I'm hoping that will leverage other funds and we'll be able to save River Farm so Senator Survell and his wife can still have their fond memories and not go in there and see it all developed up. Actually, my brother got married there too, and Jerry Highland was the guy who married them. And so it has fond memories for all of us, and we don't want it to be just a memory. It needs to be preserved. And so we're trying to do what we can. Having Delegate Sickles as the vice chair of appropriations is super helpful. I'm very proud that we were able to get money for United Community Ministries, or United Community it's called now, in the budget. We did that last year, and we've done it again this year. We also are trying to get some money in for Good Shepherd Housing, and the Lorton Community Action Center as well, and some other good groups. So we are bringing home some bacon to the community. It's about time, because until last year, the Northern Virginia Democrats and the Northern Virginians at all were not very well represented in the big committees, the money committees, and certainly the Republicans tried to keep us shut down. So things are happening. This year we are protecting Virginia families with lots of good things. One of the things I'm very proud of is increasing TANF payments. I remember I would bring a budget amendment every year, and I know that Senator Survell used to do the same thing. We try to increase TANF by like 1%. And now we're able to do 5, 10, 15, 20% every year. So that's critically important. Teacher pay raise, 5% this year, which is, so that's about $231 million to the budget. So there's a lot of good things we're doing, and I'm just very proud of the whole team effort. And I really appreciate everybody's help. And have a great Saturday night, and at least we're not in the ice.
That is true. That is true. Thank you so much. We have, I believe, one more left, which would be Delegate Watts. And unfortunately, we don't have a time limit. We're going to get Miss Watts in super quick, and then we're going to announce the winner of the straw poll, because I know Chris Ambrose is up and has that ready, because I'm getting a thumbs up signal. Delegate Watts, are you still on?
I'm still on. I've enjoyed the whole evening. I'll make it super quick. Love Albany and Saratoga, my 2 precincts of Mount Vernon. I would love to have redistricting that didn't spread me over 4 magisterial districts, so that I could really enjoy the kind of evening more frequently with you all. My issues, in no particular order: loved last year to turn around 100-year history almost, and treat Fairfax County like the urban area it is and give us the opportunity to have a more progressive tax base by being able to next year have meals tax without having to go through referendum, so that we can spread out the tax burden and not have it solely on particularly the folks that I represent who've lived in their houses 40, 50 years, little red brick bungalows around Springfield, where their income and that value of the house just don't match up. I was also glad to once again, after almost more than one generation, we were going on 2 generations since we had replenished transportation funding, and to be part of that very complex initiative, a lot more emphasis on transit and restoring funding for Northern Virginia region. And this year, what do I hope is working with Senator McClellan that I can bring over the House version of workplace harassment and get it through the Senate. Workplace harassment is a very important additional step to all the progress that was done last year in discrimination for all classes. But as I took on the harassment bill last year, no way was I going to limit it just to women, despite the Me Too movement and all that that painfully revealed, but make sure that we are in covering all classes, race and religion, as well as LGBTQ. And then what I also am hoping is that having served quite a while on criminal law subcommittee, that I will be able to get through a bill that significantly reduces the robbery charges that are overcharged at the low end, because there's no distinction between give me your wallet and very serious life debilitating injury, and yet there's no distinction between robbery charges under one, rather than the gradients that hopefully as part of our justice reform I will be able to carry. And then finally, absolutely my biggest disappointment, not having staffing standards for nursing home. COVID really showed a bright light on the tragedy in Virginia in particular, where we're one of the few states that don't have staffing standards, and with COVID, 30% higher rate of deaths in our nursing homes than the national average. And I sincerely hope that finally next year we will be able to get it. I sure am not going to give up on this this forgotten population of 20,000 of our citizens on Medicaid in nursing homes. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Delegate Watts. And I somebody said it in the chat, and I want to point it out. You know, we've got a powerhouse team in the South County, and we are super proud of you guys, and we thank you all for all you do. Delegate Watts will be running again this year, I believe. So
I will.
Be aware when she fires up her campaign, and I thank you from the Saratoga District. Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to go to Maria to announce the winner of the auction. And then I believe she's going to turn it over to Chris.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. And then the winner of tonight's auction, drum roll, is Sammy Wallace. Sammy Wallace, thank you so much. At $240, you are the proud owner of this beautiful gift basket. Thank you so much for your contribution. And everyone else, thank you for participating as well, placing your bids tonight on the auction. And I will go ahead and turn it back to Maritza. Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, Maritza, you are correct. Thank you, Maria, for all your hard work this evening. Maritza, you're up. I'm going to let you give the Fairfax County update.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Maria. This was a wonderful night. But before we go to the updates with for the closing, we're going to hear from Chris, because I believe he already have the results. Chris?
Really?
The mic is yours.
Well, those are some powerhouse auctioneers we got there. That was really good. And I want to thank everyone for coming. And I know a lot of people are waited with bated breath for these results. And so for the governor, winner in the governor is Jennifer McClellan. and for Lieutenant Governor, Sam Rasool, and for Attorney General, Mark Herring. We'll post the results to our Facebook page. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much and congratulations to the winners. It was a wonderful night. We're going to have a special message from our chairman of Supervisor Jeff McKay. So please, let's hear it.
Good evening, Mount Vernon Democrats. I'm Jeff McKay, Chairman of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, and I wish I could be with all of you in person tonight as we're fighting this pandemic. We still have a ways to go to get through COVID, but we also have a lot of good news and reason to celebrate tonight. First, we vaccinated over 129,000 people in Fairfax County. Second, we have a new administration in Washington, D.C. that believes in science, believes in partnering with local government, and is transparent about where we are and is helping us every day fight to get more vaccines in the arms of people in Fairfax County so that we can get back to normal and gather in person again. You know, when I look forward to the next year and I look at what this Biden administration has already accomplished, it's so in line with our Fairfax County values. Just think what our own Board of Supervisors has accomplished over the last year, whether it is banning guns on county-owned property, whether it is advancing affordable housing and creating over 1,000 new units in the last year, whether it's removing Confederate monuments, fighting for criminal justice reform, a better funded Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, increased funding for body-worn cameras, my task force on race and economic opportunity and equity for all people in Fairfax County, and surviving through this pandemic, protecting our small businesses and our communities that are most vulnerable. We have put our Fairfax County values into action this year, our democratic values. We now have an administration working side by side with us on behalf of residents of Fairfax County and Mount Vernon. So be optimistic, celebrate tonight, help us get through this pandemic by doing it safely, and know that better days are ahead for all of us. And again, I wish I could be with you in person. Mount Vernon is so close to my heart. As you know, I grew up on the Route 1 corridor, and the Mount Vernon Lee districts have always been home to me. So keep supporting your Mount Vernon Democrats and be optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Jeff McKay, and for this wonderful message. And now please allow me to introduce our own Supervisor, Dan Stork.
Thank you, Maritza, and thank you, Jeff, for giving the update. And COVID has really had a huge impact on all of our lives. And Jeff kind of summarized where we are with the county and the efforts that we've made. I kicked off this year, as many of you may recall, with a March town meeting on COVID, where we first discussed what was going on and what we all needed to do to try to protect ourselves and our families. This year has also been historic in lots of other ways, including with March for Justices. And I'm pleased and proud to say that we partner with Dr. Brown and folks on the Beyond the Walls March in June. We had more than 1,000 people that marched with us in Mount Vernon District. It was probably the largest march outside of Washington, D.C. in our metro area. Clearly, folks are committed and focused on justice for all. Additionally, in August, it was my proud, if you will, pleasure to honor the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote. And we did that by celebrating that at the Workhouse Arts Center, where the Lucy Burns Museum honors the women who were part of the turning point, the women who protested at the White House and were arrested for silently protesting at the White House, were thrown in prison, tortured, and ultimately their cause created a national cause, which resulted in the amendment being passed. So it was a proud moment to be part of that. And additionally, this past year, we've accomplished a lot by breaking ground on more than 400 new affordable houses, workforce and affordable houses. So lots going on in the district and things that we can all be very, very proud of. We've had just this past Saturday, we had our 34th annual Mount Vernon Town Meeting. I'm sure that you all hopefully had a chance to look at that. It's online and you can go look at it. It's the kind of thing that is a tradition that Jerry Highland started that I'm deeply proud of. This year, for the first time, it was all virtual. And that was added a whole lot of other challenges to us, but you can literally go on now and watch it, or in particular, watch the virtual fly-through, which I recommend everybody do. It's about 30 minutes, and I'll show you what all has changed in Mount Vernon over the past year. So you get to see all the different new buildings and plans and the bus rapid transit system, and really, truly all the different things that we're doing and working to make Richmond Highway Corridor and Mount Vernon a true 21st century community. I want to honor and thank some people in particular. We talked this evening several times about Saving River Farm, and we have an amazing partnership with ourselves. The Mount Vernon District Office, Chairman McKay has been very involved with it, as well as our state delegates. Paul Krizak has been very involved, as well as Mark Sickles, in funding for the Saving the River Farms, which we clearly must have if we're probably going to save that farm. Additionally, as Scott mentioned earlier, he's working on a bill to try to support that. Adam Eben has been as well looking and supporting and getting funding for Saving River Farm. So we've really put a team together, a team Save River Farm, if you will, that's making a difference. And we still have our challenges, but I'm optimistic that we'll find a way to preserve that. Additionally, we're still focused on undergrounding, and I can appreciate all Scott's efforts for the bill. And I know Paul and others have been very involved with getting a bill passed that will be crucial for the Board of Supervisors to support undergrounding on Richmond Highway. Again, lots of going on. I'm very proud to represent you. We've had many, many more things happening that'll be going on this year. I appreciate Don Byer and Jerry Connolly being part of the town meeting, Karen Corbett Sanders, and all the work that she's done on a very, very tough school board year. We all are working for you and deeply care about Mount Vernon, and particularly all Mount Vernon. So it goes really hand in hand with my motto, if you will, is no one left behind. That means nobody left behind in Mount Vernon. As we grow, as we develop, as we enter the 21st century even further, we're going to have not only newer buildings, but newer opportunities for everybody, whether you're a low-income person or you are a mother, single mother, or you are somebody who just hasn't had the breaks that you needed. That's the kind of Mount Vernon that I'm deeply committed to. So again, thank you. It's an honor to represent you.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much to all our sponsors that you joined us tonight. But before anything else, I would really like you to send me a picture if you were in the event and you were wearing your mask or you have some kind of decoration. Please send it to maritza@quenospasa.org. Before the, I just want to say, I'm just so excited because we have a really a great night, and we have a tradition that we cannot lose. So I would really like for everybody to unmute your mics and repeat after me. We are family.
We are
family.
family.
We are family.
Oh, well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Hey.
All that everybody that made possible this event, all our teams, all our candidates, their candidates team, all our elected officials. But this party is far from being over. I invite you to skip on in the meeting. I invite you to grab your drink and stay for a socially distanced party. Thank you so much for joining us, and please keep on the party. This was a wonderful show. Thanks to everybody that would make it happen. And don't forget to send me your pictures. I need your pictures, okay?
Hey, thanks for getting this all together, everybody. Everybody that worked on it. Really good stuff.